I was special assistant to the then governor of Arkansas, Winthrop Rockefeller, one of the Rockefeller brothers. Mr. Holtoff had come in to see the governor. There had been some terrible tornadoes that skipped over a lot of Arkansas with terrible rains, and the crops had been severely destroyed. Mr. Holtoff came into the governor's office to get the governor to declare a disaster that they could qualify for federal disaster assistance. And he was talking to the receptionist. She looked up, I was standing right there. She said, Mr. Sutton, would you see Mr. Holtoff? Well, he didn't recognize me, but I did recognize him. I carried Mr. Holtoff into the governor's office, not mine, sat down in the governor's chair, and said, now, Mr. Holtoff, what may I do for you? He said, Mr. Sutton, and he did say Mr. Sutton. Said, Mr. Sutton, I am from, he started to tell me where he's from. I said, you from Gould, Arkansas, sir. He said, yes. He said, you knew I was from Gould? I said, yes, sir. I know you. He said, you know me? I said, yes, sir. I said, if you look back, Mr. Holtoff, many years ago, there was a black woman, widow woman, on your farm. I described her, and he remembers precisely. He said, Ludabelle. I said, yes, sir, Ludabelle. I said, this is Ludabelle's youngest boy. And Mr. Holtoff didn't know what to say when I said I was Ludabelle's youngest boy. And actually, Mr. Holtoff was about to leave. He was, until I interrupted. I said, don't go, Mr. Holtoff. I know why you came. You came because of the disaster in Lincoln County. And you probably seeking to have Governor Rockefeller to declare disaster. He said, well, you got it down pat. I said, yes, sir. I said, my mama's youngest brother still lives in that county. His crops were destroyed too. And I said, I tell you what I'm going to do. The governor would not declare disaster without inspection to make sure. And since he's not here, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll come down there tomorrow, do an inspection, and then I will recommend to the governor as to what he ought to do. He said, well, if you recommend it to the governor, what do you think he'll do? I said, what I say. I said, he will do what I say needs to be done. The next day I flew down to the nearest I could fly was a little town called Pine Bluff. I flew into Pine Bluff, picked up Mr. Holtoff, and we flew to Gould and surveyed the area. When he came over that little shack where I was born, and I said, Mr. Holtoff, you see that shack right there? I said, that's where I was born. He said, I remember where Ludabelle stayed. I said, that's where I was born, right down there. And then we surveyed the place, and I went back, dropped him off, and he said, what do you think? I said, I shall report to the governor that there must be a declaration of disaster. And said, he will listen to you? I said, yes, sir. If I say there's a disaster, as far as the governor is concerned, there's a disaster. I can assure you of that.
How did it feel? It must have been some big emotion to be able to do that.
Well, it was. And it represented some tremendous growth on my part.
And also justice in the world, Mr. Sutton. The fact that you were in that position at all shows that there is ethics in the world.
Well,
it's looking for a chance.
There's no question that until this day, friends of mine said, how did you manage to come to the position of assisting Mr. Holtoff? And I always say I had no choice. And I teach my children that I've taught them that. I taught them my ethics and my sense of justice. And I will continue to do that.